Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Soul Conversations Podcast with Sandra. I'm happy to be here again. We are going to be joined by Miguel from Black Jag 77, and he is waving at me now, so let me bring him on. Okay, let's see. Hold on just a second. Get started. Here he comes, here he comes.
Here we
We're going to have a
go.
conversation. We've got a lot.
How are you, Sandra?
Here we go. Here we go. Good, good morning.
Yeah, it's
Or
it's
is it
2:36
afternoon
here.
there? I'm not. Okay, good. Well, I'm going to give you the welcome that you deserve. Good afternoon, Miguel.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am much better. Thank you for asking. And we are going to get started so that we can just kind of manifest just a lot of time, because you and I, when we get started talking, man, time
Yeah,
will
I've
fly,
had a lot of
right?
thoughts today, and I wanted to write them down, but I'm like, you know what? I'll see what comes up when I'm talking to Sandra, and then that's what I meant to speak at that time. Because sometimes I get things that come in, and I'm like,
Okay,
maybe I'll just wait for them to show up again, and then let them be.
right. Well, yeah, or you know however we take the direction, it's not that we have to have a direction to go. I know that we planned on talking about gems. We planned on talking about intentions. And I think there was one other thing that we wanted. Oh, I know, my favorite, multidimensional,
Multidimensional.
right?
Yeah, we can
So,
we can get into
yeah,
any of those, or just kind of,
you know,
you know.
kind of free flow. And I think what I'd like to start with is you and I, and also I believe it was a conversation that Fifi was in, and we were talking about gemstones and the power that they have, and also the power not only that they have health wise, but also in really multi being in the dream
It actually
state or
ties
multi
into feeling of being multidimensional. You have all these different aspects to you, and when you open up your
right.
awareness to that, and you start to work with
Mm-hmm.
specific gemstones and stuff like that, they allow you to see them different versions of yourself, a different frequency for yourself that you haven't experienced before, and it's like, oh, like this is coming out of me. This is me. Like, where's this coming from? But it feels new yet familiar. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like almost like a little well, depending on how big your gemstone is. Mine, like I said, I'm going to show the my audience pretty much. Mine are kind of small for right now. They were gifted to me quite a while ago, so I just want to make sure that they don't fall out. But this is mine,
Yeah, you were showing me those the other night.
right? Yeah. And I didn't know how precious they were, right? And when I mean precious, I don't mean by how expensive they are, or oh, I should keep these because if I keep these will increase in price or something. But the preciousness of the vibration that they carry
I see them
is what
as
I'm
like
talking about.
some of them have like their own undeniable presence and spirit, and well, some of them pull things out of you instead. So it's like they all have different properties, and it's very interesting because I've had stones for a while, but it's only until I reached a certain level of awareness that I was able to feel them in a different way, where it's like, oh, like that's what they're supposed to feel like. So it just takes
Right.
it takes time, I guess.
Right. Yeah, for me, I never knew, like, I would just wear them like with these, it came with one chain so that it was interchangeable. And pretty much you go, oh, I this one is like with the red jasper. Okay, I would wear, something purple or something orange or whatever, and they were adornments, right? But I didn't know, I didn't, you know, feel it at, no, I probably did feel it at that time that it was doing
But you
something,
kept
but
putting it
I
on
wasn't
because
aware of it.
you didn't realize, but it was making you feel comfortable in a specific way. Yeah, that's a grounding stone. So
Right. Yeah. And then, so the ones that I really, I wrote them down because I went back in. This is what I say your past is about, is going back in and being an observer with, and here we can tie intention into it with intentionality of what you want to feel or what you felt, right? So I went back and I said, well, what were the stones that I wore the most, right? As quote unquote adornment, you know, as to dress a certain way or to wear, you know, to make my jewelry. To I'm trying to find the right word. I would wear jewelry that accentuated my costume, or not costume, my outfit, right? It didn't necessarily have to match. So I would have, say, purple on, and then I'd wear these earrings, right? I think they also have some kind of stone on them
you
as
made me think.
well.
You just made me think about like color and why we're drawn to specific colors and specific. I think color, like maybe that has something to do with all of our experiences in the past. Like a color,
Mm-hmm.
a color speaking to us in a specific way. Like for me, it's blue. Like lately, it's been orange, but blue has always like just been that color for me. And if I'm wearing it, I just feel a certain way. That can also tie in with maybe stones, the way they make you feel. Maybe the color just calls out to you, and then the vibration of it as well. So
Right, right. It's like with me, my favorite color is blue, right? It just is. And with me, I have one specific coffee or teacup that I
I
drink
got
out of. I
coffee. I
mean,
got
I have a
coffee on
plethora
deck
of them.
always.
So right, and I just finished mine. But what I do is there are certain colors that, like you said, do call out to me. You know, and mainly the one that I drink the most out of has a blue. When it was created, it's white, and but the inside is blue. I have one that's light blue and one that's dark blue. And I usually, when I drink out of it, I feel the most
Mm.
you know, serene, you know, also able to feel, it's really weird, feel the
I think that
quiet,
has to do with the
not just
intention,
the
because
quiet.
I think a lot of we do magic every day, but we don't realize it because it's just intention. It's the you could take an object and in your mind you're like this cup makes me feel a specific type of way, and there you go. You just put magic into an object and gave it energy, and then when you're using that again, there you go. You're feeling a specific way. That's magic. Magic is all around you. It's just us pulling that magic from within us and putting it on something and giving it the essence that comes from within. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I, I never thought of it that way. You know, I mean, as a kid, I know magic exists, and and bring it forward to maybe not now this moment, but earlier in my adulthood, I did realize that magic is energy, right? It's it's
Intent.
it's it's energy. Magic is using the energy in an excited and creative way that's different than being told you don't, there's no such thing as magic. But magic, the energy is all
Even in
around you,
art,
and it's basically how
again,
you
it all ties
are.
in. Like art and
Are
magic
you?
are essentially the same thing, the same force, that creative force. Like you're taking a blank piece of paper and then you're sitting there and you're just kind of free flowing, and there it is. It's just magic.
It's, yeah, it's I love it. Or I think when I think about it now, and it makes so much sense
Hey,
now.
Melissa.
I used to, yeah, hi, Melissa.
Sun
Who else is there? Intuitive, uh-huh. Sun Moon, Lucy Jane. I just love them. They're wonderful,
Soul Fan.
wonderful people. Yeah. Um, oh man, they
This
were there
community
for
has
me
been just
these
growing.
last
Like
2 days. Thank
it's like it's just happening. It's happening, and it's not forced. It's just happening. You know, and that's beautiful about it.
you. Which is, well, let me finish what I was saying about the magic. Um, I have a couple of friends who are into music. Either they play it, they're instrumentalists, or they're writers, or they're in the form of being producers, putting music together, and it's all a form of magic. Do you know what I mean?
It's from the soul.
Greeting. Hold on, goddess switching the codes. Greeting. Can't stay long. Oh, thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming in to the Soul Fam. Um, saying saying hello. Oh, love it. Um, so what amazed me is being able to. I watched one of my friends create the music, the instrumental part of it, and then she would always say to me, I struggle with the words though, because she wants to do both, or she desires to do both. And I said, well, change. I would tell her, I said, maybe just change your words. Say, don't say I struggle with words. Say the words and thoughts free flow through me, and they're attracted to the music. And then I was thinking, that's magic. That's magic, and its form is our words and our intentionality of how we're creating it, how we're creating whatever 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 we're choosing to
Sometimes it doesn't.
help with
I
the.
feel like sometimes we don't even choose it. It's chosen for us without us even like I can ask anybody in here and just take a second to like go somewhere that where you're at a lot and just look around to things that you put around, like for example like your room, and then think about like, oh, like why did I do this and that, and it's almost like you did it unconsciously. You're putting your magic in your space.
Right.
You're
right, out unconsciously knowing it, like finally figuring out that the magic, my magic, had been sitting behind my door. You know, basically we moved into we downgraded. We went from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, and we went from a 3-bedroom family room with a family room to just a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, that kind of thing. So we downsized. That's the word that I'm losing. So a lot of my stuff that I used to have on the walls and blah blah blah, they went behind doors, they went under the beds, right. And then I put up this picture right here because I am in music, and at a point I was teaching myself, or I had an instructor. He moved back to Italy, and I started trying to keep up with teaching myself. But for me, what I told myself, and here's the words that you create from, and it's magic. It's the magic in the words. I told myself that he's not around anymore. I won't be able to do it. And
you
there went the
cast that on
magic,
yourself
right?
by saying that,
So
yeah.
that right. So this was behind a door. I have another one was under the bed. And there's another thing that says, let me tell you what it says. It says, cherish, live, dream, that I had, who knows where I had it. And all of a sudden, I just heard them all calling to me, saying, why aren't you used to love us. why aren't you using us? And then I went, why did I, kind of like, why did I say those words?
Did you feel that way
Why did
with
I
the
just,
instrument, or is that what you're saying? Or
I with everything, literally, um, I used to work at a place that wrote music. Uh, 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 they used to be called. I can say the name now because I think they got bought by somebody else. Used to work for a company that was called Alfred Music Publishing. So they had people who they had publicists, and they had writers, and they had music instruments, and the whole thing. And I've always been interested in music, and mainly guitar. Anything in music, if it's guitar, my ear will go there first. If it's drums, my ear will go there, right? And those are the two instruments that mainly, if I'm listening to music, that's what I'm dancing from. So where everybody else is probably dancing for the collective of the whole of all the music, I'm my ears hear the call of either the drum or drums and guitar together, and that's what I'm dancing to. People used to say, "You dance off beat. You dance. What are
it
you
makes me
listening
think
to? You're
of
dancing off beat."
how music has all these layers. Like we have all these layers. Sometimes we pay attention to only specific layers, but there's a way to bring it in, like that multidimensionality is like all these different aspects of yourself. It's like music, and perhaps we're only listening to what we want to hear, where we can listen to everything at once, and that's uniting, all those aspects of ourselves, and you can see just a grander perspective of things.
Right. Because multi-dimension, moving into multi-dimension, especially with your feelings and your emotions, you're learning, you're picking up on, you're learning to use these dimensional abilities to grow your eyes, where you only see peripheral. Most people, we see peripheral, and that's why we get so
And
focused on things.
some people
And we
also
don't,
become a little bit afraid,
right,
when like new things come in, and they're like, oh, is that me? Like, what is that? And I feel like a way to really be aware of that is the more you meditate and get to know yourself, when it's foreign and when it's yours, when it's when it's coming in from not a place of fear, but a place of understanding and familiarity, like of.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and that ties everything in about what we're talking about color. Like my favorite color, the color that I uh, move to, even when I'm shopping, right? It's a vibration that I'll hear, and all of a sudden I'm picking up a blue T-shirt, or another pair of blue jeans, and my daughter will go, "Well, Mom, how many pair of blue jeans can you have?" Well, evidently I can have more because they're calling me. They're calling to me, right? Or or um or actually the gemstones, right? And I think the interdimensional aspect of growing with our senses, our sight and our hearing and our taste and our feeling, is we're learning to use it in a different way. We're growing in to knowing more about going
All
outside
the
of the peripheral
senses,
with it.
when combined, create another sense. It was just the intuition.
Right.
But
And matter of fact, deepens
what was
the
that?
intuition. Right? I said it deepens the intuition. Right. I I I that's what I'm getting. It's going deeper than just the surface of being peripheral, right? And only seeing like this. There's nothing outside of everything that we already know that we have. We
And
know
so
we
it's good
have
for us to
eyes,
interact with other
right?
people to allow us to see different views. And not everything that everyone
Hmm.
says is going to resonate with you, because that's not the way it works. But you can be open, graceful, knowing what you, if you know something about yourself and you hear all these different views, you can take bits and pieces from everyone you meet in a beautiful way. You can accept everyone's truth because everyone has their own route, I guess.
Then, yeah, that's why when I wear blue lace, well, I grew up a chatty Cathy, so that's my favorite thing. I love to talk. That's why I do a podcast show. But also learning how to listen, you know, is which is part of communication, which is what blue lace. At least I know this of blue lace. It activates your communication apparatus. It it, it what is it interacts with your throat chakra.
I got a stone. I got a stone in my throat right
So
now. I got some lapis right here. It's been working. It's been working wonders at clearing me up here. But it also is not just opening up. That it allows you, like you were saying about the stone that you were talking about, right? You were talking about blue lace agate.
Yeah,
The ability
blue
to
lace
listen.
show you.
I feel like that has a lot to do with the throat chakra is interconnected with the ears. So I feel like it also like we're gonna go like I don't know, I'm going in like different directions, but clairaudience has a lot to do with the throat. So as you're opening this, you're also opening this. So you're gonna be able to hear between the chatter.
The actual, yeah, between the actual word being said and then that energy of the resonance of the
I
word
have
being
a
said.
I have a good affirmation that I use in order to connect that, and it's been helping me be able to open this up and also hear a lot better and connect with that aspect of this demand. This is I am truth, I speak truth, and I hear truth. And you could order them in any way you want, but just affirming that to yourself allows you to just be more honest, and as well as just be open, listening, and being able to reciprocate correctly.
I so I am truth, I speak truth, and I hear truth. I like that. I do. I like that. And that's total communication. I'm not sure my thingy is not moving automatically. So do you see the
I
comments as well
don't
as I do?
see the comments.
No?
Sometimes that happens to me whenever I'm like even watching a live, like I don't see the comments at all. They don't move. So
They, so, we're not going to worry about what's going on with Instagram. We're going to let
everything
Instagram
happens for a reason,
does, and we're
whatever
going to
we're
keep
meant to see,
going.
we're gonna see anyways.
Right. And yeah, and I've learned some valuable lessons about that because I'm always asking to see that which I cannot see with my physical eyes, to see it with my spiritual eyes. But I also know that when you're moving when source is moving you interdimensionally or multi-dimensionally as well, that you have to be ready to, you have to really truly be ready to see that which you're asking to see. You know what I mean? And I found that out,
You can't force
because
it. You can't try to force it. You got to go with the flow and go at the time that you're being called to. Because a lot of people will just like, oh, I want to see this, I want to hear that. Bro, if you saw something and you weren't ready for it, you're gonna bug out and think you're going crazy. Because I've been in those places, and it's not. You need to just
right
trust in the process. That we're all going home. We're all good. This is just we're having an experience, we're having fun, we're playing. Like, chill out. you know.
It was that same thing. It was, what source was doing was just sources said, all right, this is something, this is not everything in us it's new to us because we're learning how to use our gifts and our talents. So yes, it's new to us, but it's already in us. It's already been there. and source is going to, especially if you've asked, source will never usurp your truth to yourself. It will never usurp your free will of what you believe your truth is. But certainly for me, I just surrender to everything, and in that
It's a mouthful. I know. I was saying it before, and I was like, it's a mouthful sometimes.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but it's a whole learning process. It's like diving into the ocean. On the top of the ocean, it's the dimension is to and fro and up and back, and
I see that a lot of people are looking for this drop in the ocean, and they don't realize that they are the whole ocean itself.
Right. And when you're dropping back into the ocean, if you see the ocean as source, then you're moving to and fro, yeah, and then all of a sudden you just sink into that calming moment where now source says, okay, you wanted to go deep, here you are, here's a new dimensional I love this word, dimensional rift, right? Dimensional door, and are you ready to go through it? And when source means ready means ready. Are you ready to go through it? Because it's once you go through it, the possibilities,
the words that are coming in are you ready to remember? Because you chose to forget.
Yeah.
Just to re-remember.
Are you ready to? Yeah. Right. And what I'm even getting is, are you ready to recall? Because you never really forgot, right? And I'm hearing this right now, only our mind forgets things, because that's a scientific kind of process that our mind is going. I use the word scientific, but there's another word that source wants me to use, but right now I'm not sure. It's an automatic process.
I think the way to know when you're speaking not from a place here is when you don't have to think, and it just comes out. That's how you know it's like not just the mind trying to intersect its way into creating, this falseness.
Right. I like what Lucy Jane says. She says the soul never forgets. That's right. The soul is veiled. You're absolutely right. And the soul is recalling. And I think that's what Source says when you start asking questions that you want interdimensionally to open. When we start asking, okay, I want to be somewhere where I'm not. So I want to see something that I haven't seen before. Okay, for most people that are moving down their spiritual roads, they're going, okay, everything's crossing. Okay, if you say that past and future are crisscrossing each other while you're in your now. So you're having a past at the same time, and you're having a thought of the future at the same time, right? And they're crossing each other, and that's the interdimensional part that we actually access with our spirit. Actually, our spirit helps our mind to access, and then our mind. That's the only time that our mind doesn't have to make sense of anything. It just is.
The mind has to be built up. So because we are not the mind, we are the master behind the mind. So that's why if we try to force things, because we know, like, we have a great perspective of things, like sometimes the mind just can't comprehend things, and it kind of just doesn't. It's not, you can't receive something that you are not ready to receive. And you will know that if you receive something you're not ready to receive, because it'll throw you off balance. I think that's where meditation comes in. Okay. That's where meditation is important, and just knowing what is you and what is just the ego. because the ego just wants to exist. But the ego is not your enemy or your friend. It's trying to grab onto anything, any identity, just provide substance for it, you know?
Right.
Looking for
Right.
the next form of disappointment in a way. Just to prove its own existence. It's a lot.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot. To me, Source explained it to me, and I love the way Source is going to explain it to individuals in a way that they can understand it. Kind of like starting in kindergarten, and they start out with giving you a piece of paper and saying, okay, you know, you have time to color. You have 20 minutes to do your alphabets, and you have 20 minutes to just free fall or free form in color, right?
You're making me think about like school, and I'm just like, sorry to cut you off. It's just like, go ahead, continue. But I will go back to school because you brought up a lot of things, and I always thought school was just weird.
Well, when you think about it now, when you're observing it now, yeah, in observation, of course it was weird because it was out of the character of what children should be. Ego is the saboteur. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We talked about that before, Melissa. It's a saboteur. But the thing that I have learned is it's not doing it on purpose. It's just a software program that the mind created that the mind consciousness created in third density when it realized that it was conscious. And it couldn't make sense of anything because our souls were still veiled. Because I think of it this way, and I've literally been in meditation with Source before, that it wouldn't have been fair to come into duality with our souls already knowing the upper hand that they had, right? So they were veiled for a little bit while we got the chance and the opportunity to use free will. And every time we used free will and we made a choice, our souls began to recall, right? When I first started learning this, I would always say our souls started remembering, but the soul never needs to remember. The soul just needs to recall. It never lost it. The only time you need to remember something is you believe you lost something, but the soul is recalling. So the egoic mind is a system that our mind just created and said, help me out here. Here are the parameters, help me out here. And the parameters were fight, flight, or resist, right? Those made sense for the human beings that were coming up in that old third density, dinosaurs, and no heat like we have, no living water that runs through pipes, or we had to spear animals, and we had to we ran barefoot, that whole kind of thing. So yes, it's going to say if you come up against something bigger than you, run.
That's or just instinct, the way I look at it. So
right,
back to
right,
free will. You were talking about free will. It made me think about I want to ask you, what do you believe free will is, and where its place is?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. Free will is the ability to have a thought, any thoughts that's going to come up, whether it's a thought from your egoic mind or whether it's a thought from your mind that's working in tandem with your soul, a thought. And your free will is, this is the way I gather it from all of my my questions, my meditation, and my intention to know what Source wants from me, right? As Source is moving in through and as me. And it's the free will to have any choice you want. And Source, God, Almighty God, whatever anyone would call that greater being, is not judging us. We can make a free will decision to be as shitty as we want to be, and we're not being judged by it, right? It does not mean that the law of cause and effect isn't going to affect us, but source is just saying it's a thought. I'm going to allow you to have it. Go ahead and have it if that's the way you want, right? And then through those free will choices, we get to, it's like free will choices is kind of like just a ton of seasoning to create from. We're going to create the gumbo, and we can put in whatever season we want to have whatever taste we want that tastes good. Not necessarily another person projecting how they think the gumbo will taste good, but how we want to choose it. If we don't want to put pepper in it, if we don't want to put, you know, sometimes for me, I will.
So how does
make,
that tie into like fate and like the journey of
fate
leading where it's going to lead to you? Because I have a different perspective on. I like to hear your perspective on the free will. I think the free will is we decide that before we come here. So the free will comes in choosing our vessel and our character that we're playing when we come into this realm. That's the way I look at free will. So we already make the decisions up there before we come here. Even having this conversation.
I think what I think, which just got elevated with what I went through, and I have to say right now, as I'm thinking about it, this was just another dark night of the soul that I went through, and truly a learning experience. And the thing is that yes, our souls got together and created the story. It's the dreamer having a dream about the story that they're creating. But here's the kicker. The dreamer is having the dream about us having a dream and a free will to choose within that dream. So we can change that. It's not set in stone. It was just like I woke up with, okay, there's more that you want me to know about the situation and the circumstance that I was going through this dark night of the soul. And it was about the fact that the dreamer is having a dream of us creating our story. And yes, we are, what happens with our soul, they create these scenarios. I know no other way but to become part of us. And they have this scenario, right? Pardon?
Blessings and love all. I have to dash. So I'm guessing just leave.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's time. It's nighttime over there now, right? It's in Australia. I think. Blessings. Sleep well. So what it is, the part of the free will is we get to change it. We do. We get that free will to go, okay, well, I see where this story is going. I like to do this. And our soul is our soul, which is that intricate part of source, is saying, okay, let's see where she takes this. For me, anybody can believe whatever they want to believe, because you have
trying to
right
take it all in.
You have free will is the knowingness to choose if we want to follow our intuition, our conscious mindset, or egoic mind. Every opportunity that is presented, our free will is to choose which we will follow.
Ties into awareness. So the way I look at it is, the free will that you're speaking about, it's clicking with me. But I also see it as, now I can see it from another perspective, which is nice that you gave me a different avenue to look at it. Where that true free will come in is through total awareness. When we are so aware of what the moment is and so present in the moment. So the present moment is actually a present. And when you're present, receiving the present, that's when you get to choose the direction.
Yeah. Exactly. When you're present, that's when you get to open the present. And then that's when you get to say, oh, I like this present. Let me see let me see what I can do with it. Just like little kids do, right? You know, a little child will get a present, especially an electronic present. They will play with it for a little while, but their natural instinct is to open it up and see how it works. And they usually open it up to see how it works because they want to see if they can change it to make it do something else that they wanted to do. Either they figure it out, or they try to put it back together because it's not going to work do it the new way that they want to do it. Or either little kids go, oops, and throw it.
This is what I
Oops,
wanted.
put it under the bed so their mom won't see it. Right? It worked for a little while, that kind of thing. And that, for me, the intentionality of what we ask for, what we believe our dream to be as we're creating it, which brings us into our next conversation, is intentionality, is that when you're intentional, there is no room for what I would consider fate. Source isn't saying, I created you with a story that you have to stick to. Source is saying to me that I gave you a what do you call it? How the architects has the blueprint. I gave you this blueprint. You can follow it to the T, or you can veer off on it and go ahead and create your own thing. Show me what you can do. Because Source is saying, I'm moving, for me, Source is saying, I'm moving in, through, and as you, and I want to see, feel, and be physical life as much as possible. Here, you guys got and each one of us, I believe, got a blueprint, but it's all different blueprints. It's not the same. Not even the souls that got together and said, we're creating a story. You're going to be Miguel's sister, or Miguel's father, or Miguel's this, and we're going to do this. And basically, and the soul said, well, I want to feel love. And another soul said, well, I want to feel, intense prosperity or something. Each soul has something different within the story that they want to find out from Miguel. But Miguel gets to say, well, you know what? In order for your soul to find out what intense financial abundance is, you got to be butt naked poor, because we're living in duality, right? So it's like, oh, so that's intentionality, that's duality, that's multi-dimensional as well.
I think the
we're looking at all.
So duality and multidimensional is like seeing past duality. So I feel like when you're willing to accept that you are multidimensional and you're receiving all this information and all these different aspects of yourself, that's where you need to see past the duality. You need to acknowledge the duality and unite those two forces together. So when you unite the divine masculine and divine feminine force come together, that's when you can tap into that multidimensionality, and all these different gifts and things that you've learned over all these many lifetimes can come in, because you're not looking at it from a narrow standpoint. So it's like when you're ready to receive it, it's already yours.
Yeah. Right.
That just came out of me, by the way. That was just like boom.
Absolutely have free will before coming. We absolutely have free will before coming into the earth realm. The other definition is from being on. Hold on. The other definition is from being in the earth realm, if that makes sense. Well, yeah. We did, it totally makes sense, because okay, I'm probably going to go off on a tangent, but this is what having conversation with Miguel is like. Here's the thing: when I used to watch a lot of movies, all right, and they used to use in, especially in sci-fi and monster movies or demonic movies, they always used to use. In the religious standpoint, Catholicism. You always saw the Catholic Church or something, and they were always dealing in that part of it. And what I finally got is, I used to wonder, why did they always use Catholic? Why couldn't they use a Christian church or whatnot, it was because they had the most motions. They would always do Father, Son, and that kind of thing. And also they had the oldest internal uh, dimension dimensional dimensional. Source keeps wanting me to say bias, but I don't think it's bias. It's they had a lot of history about um, evil and where angels came from and how angels are perceived. And they used to always pit angels against men. And it was because angels were hated mankind because mankind had free will and angels didn't. Angels only had to do what God said to do, and they had no free will. And basically what Melissa is saying is, yes, our souls, they came from the realm of absolute, from heaven, if you want to call it that. And they had free will to make a choice to come and choose which part of which duality they wanted to tap into. They actually did. They said, I want to know what love feels like. Well, the opposite duality of love is dislike or hate or animosity or racism, or you know what I mean? So they absolutely had this free will choice to come and have a human incarnation. It's like, wow, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. Where in the peripheral, the way we've been taught is, if you believe in angels, angels don't like humans. Why? Because angels don't have free will and humans do. Right? So therefore, if you
are you saying that that's right? Like a thing, like angels view us like that, or are you just saying the way it's portrayed?
The way it's portrayed, the way it's been filtered down to us.
Because there's always, if you realize, as you come up to like the whole structure thing, a lot of it is trying to divide us in a way where we can, there's good and there's evil and all this and that. But in reality, we are all those things, and all those things, Yeah. For example,
right.
It's also part of the perspective of different people, how they view evil or whatever, like demonic. Like, let's say I start talking about multidimensionality and all these different things and animal spirits, crystals and stuff like that. To a Catholic or a Christian, I might be the devil. You know what I'm saying? Just by me portraying my truths and stuff the way I feel. So it's a lot of it comes down to how the system has manipulated the minds of specific people, of like, as well, like just people coming up specific ways and seeing these things and thinking that that's absolutely true, with not going in and finding their own truth. They just see something, like they see something on TV and assume it's supposed to be that way, and assume that's the absolute truth, which is not. What makes that true?
Right.
Is the more people that believe it, the more people that believe a specific thing, for example, fear, it multiplies in a way where it collectively it moves and it spreads. So the more people view from a place of love, the less hate there will be, the less fear there will be. It'll just dissipate.
Right. So do you think, here's a question for you. Do you think each aspect, I'm going to just call them aspects of whether it's love or peace or joy or happiness or whatever, and not versus anything, but fear and hate and malice and depression and whatnot, do you think they are dimensional portals?
No.
Or multi?
I think they're all different states of awareness. So the less aware you are of where what you are, the lower you'll be in that.
Right. And that's what I was thinking as well. That because I have to ask, am I thinking it, possibly wrong, or do I need to step up to, a new is a source allowing me to step up to learning something new. Melissa says free will would choose for us to come to the earthly realm, and we also choose our challenges. Clearing our karma, yeah. Well, I do. Oh, that's a whole different. You know, Melissa, that is. Oh, we're opening the law of the law of one
It's
there, and I haven't even
you just
finished
reminded me
reading the
about. I posted in my story that I was randomly. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch a little TV, and I was like scrolling, and I found this anime, and then there was like a scene in it, and it talks about just all these souls are like one, and then and then you can draw from that one or something like that, and it was just so right in your face, and it's just like sometimes all these messages are just like right in front of us in the most beautiful way.
most beautiful way, and the fact that you even said that, which is I'm still reading. It's the Law of One. It's the Raw Chronicles, and literally I'm on the first book, but I think they did 5 books. But I do listen to Aaron Abke because he gives a great. I do believe this gentleman is our star seed and or wanderer that's come back to help the third density kind of know just a little bit more about that. It doesn't have to be as difficult as we've been told third density is. The more knowledge you have, the more you understand. And this is what I do know of it, is the law of one is the law of love. Everyone is one and everyone is love. And but some of the things that Ross speaks about in the law of one when he's touching on souls and everything is phenomenal. And I'm not even halfway through the first book, but definitely what Melissa says about clearing karma. There are souls that are climbing the densities to merge back with source. There are at least 7 densities that our souls are moving up the density. And this third density duality is it's Earth School, and it's dynamic.
It's thick.
Some
this density's thick, man.
Dynamically hard.
This density's thick.
Huh? The density is very
have you ever
thick,
had
and it's
like little sudden moments of just sporadic clarity where your vibration kind of skyrockets for a second, and you realize like, oh, I'm so light. You know, you just kind of like step out of that. Then you come back down for like when you ground yourself and you realize, holy shit. Like,
you know, I feel that way when I'm in my dream sleep, when I'm in my and here we go,
oh man,
dream dimension, right? It's that's a whole different. I think that's multi-dimensional movement is dreaming. Even if you're just taking a nap, you know, and you wake up and you all of a sudden you're high as a kite for a minute, and then all of a sudden you come back down into it, and you feel the thickness, right?
I think there's a way to step out of that as we call elevation, right? We're increasing our frequency. And I'm sure you watch Feel Good. I watch him too. And he talks about pulling from your own frequency. And it's beautiful because it really just resonates with me. And that's how you keep from being brought back down. So you're slowly elevating yourself, and it's spreading. And you know, it's crazy because I can personally feel whenever I watch somebody like that and I watch his videos, it sparks something in me. Have you ever realized something like that? Whenever you're watching someone like that is so in their truth, it makes you want to look within even more and pull out of your truth and just kind of just radiate within your own light and see things that, yeah.
Because I will go and go, ooh, show me some of that. I mean, okay, I'm ready for that. I think I'm ready for that. Can I have some of that, please? You know that. And well, I want to know what he knows. Can you give it to me
in your way,
in
right? You
can you
want to
give
hear
it to
you want
me?
to hear in your way,
Right.
and you understand that in your soul.
Yeah, the perception or the words. Now he, because I remember saying when I first started to listen to Michael Bernard Beckwith, right, and he has some phenomenal work. And I used to think when I was listening to him, he's making up shit, like he's making up words, right? And then so I would hear Source say, no, look in the dictionary. And, literally that's Source. Source is like, go look in the dictionary. And I would go and there would be words and I'm going, that's actually a word. I've never heard it put like that. But once I go and I look at the word and then, and know that the definition of his words would have three other words. And Source would say, what word works for you? Use that one. Right. And then I would, find a word. I say, I think I know this word. And Source would tell me, look that word up. And then I go look that word up and I go, yes, that's the meaning. And Source would go, good. Can we go on now? Can we finish with the video? Kind of thing. But yeah, definitely. But what's great is what I think you're saying also is you could feel other people in that room with him while he's speaking, and you could feel the resonance of
It's a
them
light.
getting it too. And it's like,
Anytime, like let's say me and you are having this conversation right now, right? So we're two consciousness in the totality, but we're creating what's called the third. But just two people were creating the third. So this
right,
experience can only be experienced by us, and also who is in here can feel it as well. It's like a little,
right.
like a little beacon
It's
of whatever
it,
we're talking about. So whatever is meant to resonate with whoever's in here is going to resonate, or whoever rewatches this. It's a moment stamped in the timeline.
right, right. And that's the whole thing is we've just created past, a futuristic past that and the future and the past are all converging on the now. And it's like, oh my God, going, I never thought I'd get it, like get it. I thought I had to be like some kind of
That's good
scientist
too.
to get it.
Whenever you think of a specific moment that comes up randomly where you felt a certain feeling, 333. Whenever you experience something specific where you were disappointed or felt unloved, you can visualize that. It'll randomly come up, and that's when you need to step into that and clear that in a way where you give yourself that love, and then kind of erase that specific moment from the timeline. And that's how you're clearing karma that way.
Right, right. You're clearing karma without having to go back generational to do that. By giving yourself that permission to say, okay, forgive me for this moment, and okay, where do I
You're
want to go
traveling in your like mind.
now?
I think that is also like a concept of shamanics that I'm beginning to understand, where you can travel within your own mind to gain specific pieces of information from specific pieces in time in your own.
Right. I did that last night when I was working through. Um, Actually, when I got quiet enough and forgave myself enough, and and did some other things, I finally understood what Source was calling me to do and to be at the moment that Source needed me to be at, which was a conduit, you know. And also at that time, I I learned a valuable. It was a teaching moment of me actually moving into a different dimension from where I was to where my niece was. And she was in a sleep dimension. They had put her in a she wasn't breathing well, so they had to put her on a breathing apparatus. and then they kept her highly sedated. So she was in this deep sleep that she didn't know where she was. She didn't know why she was alone. And this was the first activation of a new gift that I had. And it everything that I had felt was where I thought it was out of place, out of sync, and whatnot. Um, and through the help of Fifi,
I love Fifi.
Root the Crown, or yeah, or just moved me to him through others, because what I was doing is, and this is also my egoic mind not wanting me to go into that dimension, right? So it was telling me things that seemed reasonable but weren't, and not even reasonable. It was telling me things that hurt my heart as well. And but once I got quiet enough, once Fifi helped me to do some deep breathing and get quiet enough, I was actually able, and I'm so glad we're talking about dimension, being interdimensional, not just being interdimensional, but being able to move interdimensionally, which is the whole process of that. And I was actually able to go where my niece was calling me to, right? And I was actually able to go there through. And here's the other thing that we were talking about: intentions, setting intention. The intention was the intention was I'm going to listen to Fifi, because making sense through Fifi. I'm going to intentionally
His ears are probably ringing right now.
Start breathing, get quiet.
His ears are probably ringing right now.
Huh? So, but and Source said, I'm going to give someone who's going to be like that parent that shows a child how to ride a bike, and then all of a sudden that your parent goes, Sandra, look behind you, and you're riding by yourself because your parent was there. And I actually, here's something new that I learned that I thought I already knew, but evidently I didn't freaking know anything, right? Literally, the interdimensional movement that I thought I was making was nothing in comparison to this, to actually hearing and seeing and feeling my niece, and feeling all of what was hers that I thought was mine, that I thought was fear and unhappiness about possibly losing her, which is my egoic mind. And Source was saying, I want you to be a conduit. I want to amplify you so you can hear where she's calling you from, and where you have to vibratorily be in order to help her. And it's what's like, whoa. I mean, no. It's like, wow, big eyes. Have you ever had those cartoons where the cartoon characters, the eyes popped out, right?
There's just moments sometimes we think we know, but knowing we don't know is the most beautiful thing, because then when we do know, it's like, oh, yeah,
what a wonderful surprise, right? Yeah, it's like being that kid again on Christmas or your birthday or on a just because day, when your parents just hand you a gift and it says, this is a just because gift, and you're blown away. When you open it, you're opening it, you're feeling the wrapping paper, you're feeling everything, you're feeling the excitement, you're feeling the energy. Matter of fact, you're surfboarding on the energy, and then you open it and you just get blown away by whatever it was,
The beautiful thing about just life is that journey of coming into that inner knowing, and that those things that we get to experience along the way. Everyone is constantly thinking about being here, but they're not enjoying this.
Yeah, right. They're just not, and that's the deep dive. Everybody, I won't say everybody. Those people that are on the top of the ocean, and it's just moving, and it's just bumping, and just throwing them to and from. Sources saying, just dive, just go down, just dive. Surfers do it all the time. They don't worry about after they ride the wave or underneath the wave. They're there underneath that wave as that wave is curling all over them, and they're just touching it with their hand. They're hearing it with their ears. They're hearing it, and they're tasting all that wonderful energy. And when the wave just quits or stops, they just go down. They go down on their board. If they go under the water, they come up. Most of them don't think about it. Don't ever think, am
We're
I
all a work in
going under?
progress.
Will I
I'm just
not?
reading what Melissa's saying. We're constantly relearning and constantly leveling up. We are all a work in progress. Yeah. Relearning, remembering,
Yes.
becoming.
Remember, yeah. We are the mind is remembering, because the mind, just kind of like, think about it. It had a glimpse of what it's like to be a creator with soul, mind, and body. It had a glimpse of it before the soul was actually veiled. It had a glimpse of it. So all the mind is doing is remembering. All the soul is doing is recalling. And as they're doing that together, it's the same vibratory field expanding, right? Totally, expanding. You froze a little bit. Uh, let's see if I can invite him back. Uh, hold on. I'm trying to see. Let's give him a little bit. His signal probably just dropped, but he will be back. But wonderful. Hi, Indiana. Thank you very much for showing your vibration, for sharing your vibration, not showing your vibration. We are constantly relearning and constantly leveling up. Absolutely, absolutely. That's what moving interdimensionally is all about, is constantly being able to allow ourselves to go to the next level, right? Hold on a second. Let's see if I can get him back. Hold on. So I invited him back. Let's see. Miguel is doing a Houdini. Yes, or it's been an hour and almost 45 minutes, but I was just having fun. Miguel and I, when we talked, we kind of jumped back and forth between subjects, because all the subjects that we like to talk about are interconnected. Wonderful. So let's see. Um, I don't know. It's like every time I look at who to invite, it says Melissa Love 6959. Did you want to come on as we wait for him? It's the hour is almost up anyway. Let me know. Oh, it says he's unable to join. Maybe his phone died. So, but how many of those would want me to ask him back? I think he needs to do a second return, so that we can finish our wonderful conversation, because it's definitely, we need to tap into more about uh, our stones, and gems, and what power they give us, and they provide for us. I know for me, I love wearing red jasper because it's grounding and it promotes strength for me. So hold on, let's see. Um, yeah, he's not responding right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about some things that, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Good morning over there, Melissa. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, doctor. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the stones I showed you before, right? These are the stones. It was gifted to me, and it was gifted to me with a necklace, a chain for a necklace to wear, or a chain to wear on my wrist. And of course, the necklace and the chain, it was definitely a great vibe with you and Miguel. Perhaps he received the call. You know, that's definitely true. Sometimes my phone does it, and usually it gives me whether I can accept or decline, and maybe he needed to take his call. So let me just go over the stones that I utilize for me and what they do. Red jasper, I love wearing red jasper. It promotes strength, protection, and endurance for me. It's kind of like a nurturer for me, right? And I also talk about turquoise. It's a grounding energy, right? So now I understand why I feel stabilized, you know, even when things are kind of going catawampus around me. Yesterday, I was not wearing my turquoise, nor was I wearing my jasper or red jasper. I love aventurine. That's a form of quartz. It's for mental clarity, creativity, and compassion. Also, it diffuses negative emotions. I guess that's why I like wearing aventurine. And usually I would wear my red jasper with soda light, which is an emotional and intuition clarity balancer. So, and of course, I like my rose quartz, and I have a rose quartz candle for healing, right? And blue lace is for freedom and serenity. It calms your thoughts. It helps you to communicate. And a lot of times it helps you to communicate with your spirit guides and with your in the angelic realm, right? In the realm of absolute that we talked about yesterday. So I do also like tiger's eye. I have tiger's eye as well, and hematite as well. So thank you very much. And what we're going to do, I'm going to get, or not, let's put this way. My intention is to ask, I'm sorry, ask Blackjack 77 back so that we can have another conversation. And who knows, we might add to that conversation. So I am going to find out a little bit later when I talk to Miguel if he'd like to come back. So thank you so much for being part of this Soul Conversation with Sandra, the podcast. Hello, Serpent Vision Oracle. How are you? Thank you for joining. And I will save, as always, I will save this this live podcast. It will be available in my bio for anyone who has missed certain parts of the conversation. And I hope you join me on my YouTube. Support me there. Thank you. I will also have that is also available in my bio as well. And I am on Spotify and iTunes. So join me there. I have lots of podcast videos there for your choosing. Choose one and enjoy. So everyone, be blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I close this page and this room with 10845 10845. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what, Melissa? You are loved, loved, and loving. Everyone be blessed. Namaste.